Installing a new gas tank in a 1977 MGB Roadster. There's the vehicle right there. You can see I've already put the sending unit in there. It's really easy to do. There's two little slats that will keep it from being oriented in the wrong direction. And when you do put it in, make sure that the rubber washer is on the inside of this inside flange. That way it'll seal the gas up and you won't have any leakage. These little tabs right here are what you use with a screwdriver and a hammer to advance it so that this little flange holds that in there. You can see there's a little ramp on it. And they ramp up on this and tighten it up. The Moss Motors has this. Actually, I think I got this at Abingdon Spares. They have a gas tank installation kit, has all the necessary hardware. When you take the old one out, you'll notice that there are some of these nuts are they have the little clip-on nuts. The location of those clip-ons are two in the rear, one on the right-hand side, and two on the inside of the left-hand side. There's four flanges here on the left-hand side, and two of those go in the center, one on the center over here, two in the back. You notice these little white strips. They are there to replace the old strips from the old gas. It had a little, like a vibration dampeners, some sort of a little. These almost feel like leather, but they're plastic. They're just cushy rubber. This flange right here goes around the filler hole here, and I've these are just a cheap foam, but see, it's got all kind of rust and stuff and water catching in there. So I got some packing material that I had left over, and I tested this with some fuel to make sure that it was not going to be reactive to the fuel in case anything spilled in there. But the idea behind these flanges here is to keep water from the trunk from sitting on top of the gas tank. I went ahead, I don't know if you can see right here, I put a little bit of contact cement on there so that these don't move during installation. You may or may not need to do that, but it just makes it easier. So next thing is to put this on the floor jack, put it up underneath there. Quick little pro tip, this right here is a hand brake. It's for bending metal. During shipping, 2 or 3 of these little tabs had become bent over. One of them was one of these where you need to have a clip on there. If you have a hand brake, just throw it over the top, give it a squeeze, and it will flatten that out. You can probably do it with a pair of pliers, but having a nice hand brake, make sure that it's going to be nice and flat and there's no metal stress. Okay, so I got it up in there. It's sort of mounted. The advantage is you have 2 bolts that are let's just say that they're welded and they're ready. So from the bottom, you can connect to those, and in this case, you can see that the hole here is not quite ready to accept the bolts going down, because you need to pull the gas tank a little bit further up. What I would suggest is, and you can see on this side, don't put the washers and split washers on until after you have all of the bolts down. You can see I've got these finger tight on this side. There's one over here, finger tight right here, and it's just holding the tank barely in. You can see there's barely any threads in there. You want to resist the temptation to jack against this, because you'll buckle the tank. You don't want to have a brand new tank with a dent in it. So just go ahead and do those finger tight until you get everything all situated, and then come back and tighten those up. And then after you've got the bolts coming down through there from the top down, then come back and put the split washers on these. Just sharing my experience on this task. All right, one little thing that I want to recommend is before you tighten these up from the bottom, the nuts on the bottom, when you get everything all lined up, just kind of take a screwdriver, or in this case I have like a little tool that I use for just kind of center these clips, because what's going to happen is these in the back in particular, these little clips can move around during while you're moving them into place, and if you get them up in there too tight, then they won't match up. So just give it a screwdriver and line those up before you go. Okay, and that's that. 2 bolts down, 1 bolt down, 2 bolts up, and these back ones here, they line up just fine. You can see the little spongy thing that I put in there is compressed nicely around these little holes. That's going to keep some water out, keep the top of the tank from becoming a rust problem. In case you're wondering what we did with the bottom of the trunk here, we treated all the rust and put phosphoric acid on there and treated it all up. And then the black that you see here is a truck bed liner. So that's a nice rubber coating all throughout the whole bottom of the trunk. So any water getting through any of the seals or anything in the future won't be a problem. It won't be causing any rust. There's a gas tank installation for a 1977 MGB. See, all the screws in the bottom down here are happy. Get an idea of what goes where. Here you go.